Have you ever felt paralyzed by the fear of what other people think? Maybe you've spent sleepless nights replaying conversations, worried that you said something wrong or wondering if someone misunderstood your intentions. For years, that was my reality. I constantly worried about what others thought until I read The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. Mel introduced me to one of the most powerful ideas I've ever heard. You're just not as important as you think you are, in a good way. It might sound harsh at first, but trust me, this concept is incredibly freeing. It liberated me from anxiety, fear of judgment, and the overwhelming stress of pleasing everyone else. Today, I'll share exactly how embracing Mel's philosophy transformed my life, and how it can transform yours too. When I first heard about the Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins, I was immediately intrigued. Mel Robbins isn't your typical motivational guru. She's authentic, straightforward, and sometimes brutally honest. If you've ever watched her TED Talks or followed her online, you know exactly what I mean. Mel Robbins is a best-selling author and world-renowned speaker, known for cutting straight through the noise to deliver practical, no-nonsense wisdom. Unlike most self-help gurus who focus on telling you what you want to hear, Mel excels at telling you exactly what you need to hear, even if it's uncomfortable. What sets the Let Them Theory apart is how refreshingly simple yet deeply profound it is. Mel tackles one of our biggest fears head-on, the fear of judgment. She exposes the truth that others aren't nearly as concerned with us as we imagine they are. They're busy worrying about themselves. This simple realization was transformative for me personally, freeing me from anxiety, self-doubt, and the constant need for validation. And today, I'm excited to share exactly how you can experience this same powerful shift for yourself. If you're anything like me, you've probably spent far too much of your life worrying about what other people think. Maybe you've held back your opinion in meetings, avoided posting something personal online, or hesitated to pursue a dream, all because you're afraid of judgment. For years, I genuinely believed everyone around me was analyzing my every move. I imagined that people were quietly judging how I dressed, how I spoke, and even the life choices I made. The anxiety was exhausting. It wasn't until I discovered Mel Robbins, the Let Them Theory, that I finally understood just how mistaken I'd been. Mel's central idea is incredibly simple yet profoundly powerful. You're not nearly as important to others as you believe you are. And that's great news. At first glance, this idea can feel unsettling or even insulting. But let's be honest, how often do you truly spend your time deeply analyzing every detail about someone else's life? Probably almost never. Why? Because we're all consumed with our own problems, insecurities, and desires. Mel points out that everyone else operates exactly the same way. The truth is, most people barely notice the things we worry about most. I experienced this firsthand at a significant point in my career. I had an opportunity to lead an important project at work. Initially, excitement quickly turned into anxiety. What if I messed up? What if my coworkers questioned my abilities or criticized my decisions? The day before our first meeting, I stumbled upon Mel's advice again. She says simply, "Let them judge. Let them talk. It doesn't matter." With these words ringing in my head, I approached the meeting differently. I spoke openly, shared my vision boldly, and no longer feared others' opinions. The result shocked me. My coworkers didn't judge or criticize. Instead, they responded with genuine appreciation and respect. Even more surprising, most people were too busy worrying about their own contributions to overly analyze mine. The meeting went great, and the project succeeded far beyond my expectations. I realized that for years I'd wasted precious energy on worries that had never materialized. Mel Robbins explains it perfectly. Everyone is absorbed in their own inner worlds. They're dealing with their own stress, worries, and insecurities. They simply don't have the mental bandwidth to focus excessively on us. Understanding this truth frees us to live authentically, openly, and confidently. This realization transformed my life profoundly. Today, whenever I catch myself overthinking others' opinions, I remind myself of Mel's simple yet powerful phrase, "Let them." It instantly dissolves my anxiety and reminds me to stay authentic, true to myself, and free from unnecessary stress. The Let Them theory by Mel Robbins had an immediate impact on my life, largely because of Mel's direct, no-nonsense approach. Unlike typical self-help books that sometimes overcomplicate simple truths, Mel's greatest strength lies in her raw honesty. She doesn't waste time trying to soften the message or protect your feelings. She lays out the uncomfortable truth plainly. People simply don't think about you as often as you assume, and that's liberating. When I first read the book, however, I must admit, this directness made me slightly defensive. At times, Mel's blunt style felt challenging, especially when confronting deeply ingrained fears around judgment and approval. Yet, as I kept reading, I began to appreciate that honesty. Sometimes tough truths are precisely what we need to hear. One minor criticism I had about the Let Them theory is that Mel repeats certain concepts throughout the book. While repetition is often beneficial for reinforcing important points, I occasionally felt the pacing slowed down, especially once I'd fully grasped the core idea. For readers already familiar with Mel's style, certain chapters might feel overly familiar or repetitive. However, the value I got from this book significantly outweighed these small drawbacks. Personally, the most important lesson was realizing how much unnecessary power I'd given other people's opinions over my life choices. Before reading this book, I frequently found myself avoiding risks, opportunities, or even just honest self-expression because I feared negative judgments or criticisms from others. Mel's message was exactly the wake-up call I needed. Now, whenever I sense myself holding back, Mel's straightforward words ring in my head. Let them judge. Let them think whatever they want. It doesn't matter. Adopting this mindset was transformative. It freed me to take more risks, to speak openly, and to live authentically, without constantly seeking external validation. And what surprised me most is how quickly others responded positively when I stopped worrying about their approval. Ironically, letting go of the need to impress actually made me more confident and likable. In short, the Let Them theory isn't just insightful, it's deeply empowering. Despite its minor repetitive elements, I believe this book is incredibly valuable, especially if you're someone who constantly struggles with fear of judgment or seeks others' approval. It's certainly a book I recommend wholeheartedly. Today, we've explored an incredibly freeing truth from Mel Robbins, the Let Them theory. You simply aren't as important in others' eyes as you think you are, and trust me, that's fantastic news. As I shared, this simple realization changed my life dramatically. I stopped worrying about imaginary judgments, stopped chasing endless approval, and began to live genuinely and confidently. And if I can make this change, so can you. Right now, I want you to pause and reflect on one question. Honestly, what would you finally do if you truly didn't care what others thought? Maybe you'd speak up more in meetings, start sharing your story online, pursue that dream you've been delaying, or simply feel happier being yourself. Whatever it is, take one small step toward it today, and I'd absolutely love to hear from you. In the comments below, tell me one thing you're going to do now that you've embraced the idea of let them think whatever they want. Your story can inspire countless others watching this video. If you found value today, please hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We'll continue exploring transformative books, ideas, and strategies each week, helping each other live with greater authenticity, freedom, and fulfillment. Thanks so much for joining me today. And remember, other people's opinions don't define your worth or your life. So let them think whatever they want. You have better things to do.